Scheduled meeting of the Wtvl City Council. If anybody would like an agenda like this, they are in the plastic sleeve on the back wall by the big map. And before we get started, I'm going to ask this young man, my friend Adam, here in the front row to stand and lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up is Community Notes. Community Notes is a time where if anybody has something they would like to say or speak about that is not currently on the agenda tonight, now would be the time to do so. We just ask that you come to the podium, state your name, tell us where you live and what you have to say. Hi, sir.
I'm Brian, Ward 6, Brian Phipps. I think the parking situation downtown needs to be improved. I looked at one of the parking spaces, the parallel parking spaces in front of CSA, and it wasn't long enough to hold a passenger truck with 4 doors. I think if we eliminated a few spaces and made them all evenly in length between white lines, it would make parking more convenient for everyone and easier to get in and out. Also, I think the cab drivers deserve a taxi stand somewhere near the new Colby building. I think it should be used for any livery vehicles, KV Cap or Uber, and taxis, first come, first serve, and it would help improve transportation around the city.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. And just as an update to that, we do have some probably pretty exciting opportunities potentially coming up, and over this next year we are going to be getting back to a lot of this downtown revitalization issues. A lot of it has to do with parking, Main Street traffic, sidewalks, all kinds of things. So over the next year, expect that you're going to be hearing a lot about this, and there'll be a lot of time for public input. So we'll do our part to, as these things come up, make sure we get the information out so you all know about that, and hopefully folks like yourself, Mr. Phipps, can come to those meetings and voice your concerns as well. So we will definitely be talking about those very issues. Thank you. Next for community notes.
Anthony George, Ward 6. First of all, I want to thank the council people. You guys voted for the outside dining. I think that's a great idea. Usually you guys work really fast on it. Usually government has a tendency to slow down progress, but you guys put it together and made it happen. And I think it's a great thing. On another note, I know a while ago, the mayor said that you guys were talking behind the scenes about the budget, a 13% increase. And I went back and I read the article in the Morning Sentinel about it. And those two down there, Ward 6 and Ward 7, you guys said you never even heard anything about the 13%. You never even knew anything about it. That's what you guys said. Why do I have an email of you guys talking about you're at 13% and that you didn't want to make it public and you guys have to get together to lower it? I don't understand that. Also, too, I get that you made this big long speech about there was no meetings outside with everyone present. I understand where you're going at, because the city attorney said in order for there to be a meeting, there has to be 4 or more council people present. So what do? You guys email each other to get in small groups so it won't be known to the public. You guys don't have to do that. But you guys made plans to get, I got the emails saying you guys want to get together in small groups. There's a specific email that even says, now remember folks, it can't be more than 3 people. So for you to say that you had no meetings, it was kind of misleading. So there was behind the scene talks, and there was 13%. I have the emails. Also too, I think it's weird that Nate sent you guys an email saying that only 2 people wrote to him about the budget, and both was in favor. That's what he told you guys in the email. I got the email. I wrote an email against it. He didn't mention that to you guys. I have a friend of mine that wrote an email to him saying, don't go up on the taxes. But he tells you guys he only received 2 emails saying they were for the budget. He didn't tell you about the other ones. You guys are misleading the public. You really are. And you got Councilor Lesson, she's not here anymore. The Morning Sentinel did a public information request. She wrote an email to the city attorney, said, here's all the emails you wanted. Could you leave some out? She wanted to leave out some emails. I think that's kind of embarrassing for you guys. Thankfully, Bill Lee said, no, I gotta submit them all. I know you guys want to say, oh, we're only 30 or 40 people, but remember, there was nobody here. Then there was 2, and then there was 4. Now look at all the people that are here now. We're gonna keep on coming until you guys start listening to us.
Next up for community notes.
My name's Scott McAdoo. I'm here representing the South End Neighborhood Association. I'd like to invite everybody to the 15th Annual South End National Night Out Festival, August 7th, from 5 to 7 p.m. at Green Street Park. There are going to be live music by the Riley Parkhurst Duo, a barbecue, several games, a bounce house, a police, fire truck, and Delta ambulances will be on display. A lot of local nonprofit and community groups are going to have information tables. And Centerpoint Church is actually going to be handing out 150 backpacks filled with school supplies. And this is all free. August 7th, 5 to 7 p.m., Green Street Park, down off Water Street. Hope to see everybody there. It's a fun, good time just to come out and meet your neighbors and just basically take back our neighborhood and meet, if you haven't met all your neighbors, meet some new neighbors. Or
And you don't have to be from the South End, you can be from anywhere, and still go down and have a good time.
anybody in the city, anybody who wants to come down for just a night of fun, free food, free food, entertainment, just come out and just have a night out.
Hey, thanks, Scott. Next up for community notes.
Good evening. My name is Patrick Henyon. Was born in Wtvl, Maine. I'm a homeowner in Ward 6, and I'm a teacher at the Wtvl Junior High. Being both a taxpayer in the city and an educator, I find myself stuck in the middle of our ever-present budget debate. On one hand, I'm tired of seeing our taxes increase year after year, and on the other hand, I'm tired of being told that I should no longer print materials for my students because the budget for paper and toner has been depleted 3 months before the school year ends. I'm tired of worrying about mine and my colleagues' jobs, and tired of wondering if I'll be able to afford to stay in my home a few years from now. But above all else, what I find most exhausting is waking up each day to read not what's being done to cure our city of these concerns, but instead I read the next series of derisive comments from one council member aimed at another. Comments, it seems to me, made only to point the finger of blame at someone else, rather than begin the process of working together to put policy in place to ensure that Wtvl doesn't find itself in the same budget crunch next year, and the year after, and the year after. It seems as though the people are more focused on political victories than they are on making a lasting difference in the city. On June 7th, Mr. Roy was quoted in the Morning Sentinel that next year's budget was likely to have, quote, a big hole in it, indicating an even larger tax increase. It was published on June 18th that Councillor Mayhew made it clear that it was decreasing revenue that was the major culprit of the tax dilemma. So I must ask, why do we continue to fight over measures that will amount to little more than window dressing that will only result in the problem returning in a bigger way next year? I understand the discussion for this year's budget has to focus on spending because, frankly, you can't create money out of thin air. But what meaningful discussion is being held to work towards making sure we don't find ourselves in this budget battle year after year? What proposals has the council put forward to increase the revenues of our city and make changes that have a lasting and positive effect? As a younger man, I was taught a lesson by one of my first bosses. If you come with a problem, try and also come with a solution. So I've included 2 ideas as jumping off points. First, I'd like to propose that we include a $10 lodging tax on each hotel room rented within the city. While this may result in a small amount of added revenue, it wouldn't burden our own citizens any further and may result in ending the argument over whether or not we can afford that new police cruiser or to keep our municipal pool slides open. Second, I'd like to propose that we begin to levy a tax of 2 mills for all current tax-exempt properties within the city. If I and my fellow citizens can afford a mill rate in excess of 25, then institutions like Thomas and Colby College can likely afford a tax rate of 2. especially given the headlines I read about $200 million athletic facilities and $750 million fundraising campaigns. While I appreciate the argument that these tax-exempt entities do a lot for our city, my response is simply, so do our citizens. We're the same people that volunteer to coach our youth sports teams. To start city beautification projects and act as mentors for at-risk youth. Also, last I checked, tax-exempt properties benefit from the same fire department that was threatened to be cut, as well as numerous other provided services. Now, it may be the case that these ideas I've presented have some fundamental flaw that make them impossible to implement, but at least they're a beginning point for larger discussion about how to rescue ourselves from this pit instead of continuously digging it deeper. The recalls are over. It's time to move forward. I don't care who tweeted what. I don't care what counselors were drawing pictures. I don't care who said what about whom to who. What I care about is that we have nearly a year to improve the financial outlook of our city for the next budget and budgets to come. I care about having a city government who will prioritize improving the city for everyone over besting their political foes. All of you on the council have the time to at least begin to implement changes that will improve Waterville's financial health for the future. If in 11 months we find ourselves back at each other's throats fighting over which crumb to cut next, it will no longer be a mystery whom the blame belongs. It will belong to all of you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. It's well said. Just to let you know, we are working on putting together a series of meetings that probably will actually last, I'm guessing, well into the new year, called Community Conversations. I was hoping to have it started by the end of July, but it's looking it's going to be August because I'm looking for affordable space outside of these chambers, because I think there's a certain atmosphere in here that we don't want if we're trying to generate a more open discussion with the community, and to try to help us set councilors should be able to have a discussion where they're not put on the spot to take a vote on something and the public isn't trying to influence a vote, so we can get together and start setting strategic initiatives and priorities for the community. So those will be coming forward, and hopefully you'll be able to take part in those. I do appreciate your words tonight, though. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Eric Chamberlain. I'm a Ward 5 resident, and I'm the one who took the budget repeal out. For the past 4 years, I've owned my home and watched the tax bill go up and up. Now, I understand the importance of investing in our city. I understand the importance of giving the essential departments such as the school, public service, public works, the funding they need to do their job safely. But as soon as I saw the fighting between city council and the citizens and all the proposals being thrown on deaf ears here, I knew it was time for someone to step up and let the citizens have a voice. Last meeting, there was a councilor that proposed cuts that he stated wouldn't affect any city operations or staffing. If a councilor who was on the negotiation team for this budget proposed those cuts, then why are we still classifying this as a bare bones budget? Clearly, it's common sense cuts that can be made, and they weren't made. All the team behind the repeal wants is for the council to use common sense when making such big decisions. As stated in prior meetings, we're going to need to put $1 million in the main pool at the Wtvl municipal pool in the next 2 to 4 years. The response to that was, well, let's ask the Alphons and see what they're going to give us. Do you honestly think that that's a smart move? We're going to be back to the same very spot fighting over the next tax increase. So let's get the city back on track. Let's stop this divisiveness and let's use some common sense when it comes to the budget. That's all we ask.
All right, Phil, I'll let you go ahead and you'll finish it out for community notes. Thanks.
Phil Bullfield, Ward 2. I just want to comment because make a comment on a budget discussion that's been going on and talking to many people and listening to many people. One thing that has to be mentioned, yes, it would be nice to make some cuts to the current budget. $200,000, $300,000, but you have to let the people know as well that making those cuts really won't make any significant difference. It will make a difference, but it won't make any significant difference to the people of the city, because that will come down to about 25 cents a month for somebody, okay? So once again, the discussion, I believe, shouldn't be about, should we cut 25 cents on somebody's bill next year? It should be about what are we doing? Council should be telling us what they're doing for next year. And this should be the message every city council meeting. What are we doing? Tell the people what you are doing so that next year we won't find ourselves in this hole, because we know we will, based on the numbers. Again, I just hope that things, gets resolved and we move forward, because the message has been clear from the people. We don't want another tax increase. We don't want people fighting. We want people providing solutions. And the people we elect, we hope that they do that for us. Okay? And the message is clear from everybody in this room and everybody in the community. Also, I just want again to come and reiterate that, I am with Habitat, and there are a ton of people like myself and the people that I work with who are trying to make a difference every day in people's lives and go in the arena and do the work to help the people. So if you're willing, if you have any skills, building skills and want to help, there are many nonprofits around our community. Get involved, reach out. We would love to have you help us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Kathy, you'll be the last one for community announcements.
Kathy Weeks, Ward 1. I just wanted to make a couple of comments. I know at the last meeting in July 3rd, we spent about an hour and a half talking about a pool slide. And one of the questions that came up was, who else in the state has a slide? And the answer was Bangor. Well, it should have been very obvious to everyone that because Stephen and Tabitha King gave $1.4 million in 2004 for the pool, that's why they had the slide. And I did confirm that with the Parks and Recreation person up in Bangor. But I know we're still talking about the budget, and hopefully we can revisit it. Hopefully, even if we have to spend the money to have a consultant come in to review it, because obviously we're missing the boat someplace with the budget items. So, thank you.
Thanks, Kathy.
I could make a quick comment.
Yes, of course.
I just wanted to say congratulations to all the organizers of MIF, the Maine International Film Festival. It began last week. It's one of the events that draws hundreds, if not thousands, of people to our town who are busy buying lunches, buying dinners, staying in the hotels. And I would encourage everybody to check it out. There's a wide variety of films. I got to see a documentary about bears with my children that we enjoyed very much. So there's something for all tastes, and I think they've been doing a wonderful service for the city. So I just wanted to give them a public thank you.
Thank you.
Not exactly a community note, but I thought it'd be important for all of us to say thank you to Kathy Browder. She's leaving us, unfortunately, at the end of this month, take a new position, an exciting one that pays more money. I don't blame you.
She's going to pay California taxes on that.
But in the 2 short years that she's been here, because she came without any municipal finance experience, in the 2 short years that she served as our finance director, she became completely immersed and knowledgeable about our entire financial network. Gained the respect of all of our department heads, 13 different department heads, and I know I can speak for all of them when I say we're going to be very sorry to see you go. Maybe you come back to Waterville to work for us someday. But I just wanted to make sure that we expressed our appreciation for her time here.
Next, we have disclosure of conflict of interest. Is there any counselor that feels they have a conflict of interest on a vote they will take tonight? Okay, we'll move on with the approval of the consent agenda. Can I get a motion for the approval of consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Next, unfinished business, Resolution 104, 2018.
A resolution providing for authorizing issuance of an outdoor dining permit to 18 below. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Waterville acting as municipal officers as follows. That the City Council hereby authorize the issuance of an outdoor dining permit to 18 below in the area shown in the attached map.
For motion to adopt?
Move to adopt. Second.
Did everyone see the email I
Yeah,
sent
it's been
out this
postponed.
afternoon?
So move to postpone indefinitely?
Yeah, he's withdrawn his request to take 2 of the parking spaces, so he's gonna do it on the sidewalk.
Great. Can I get a
You can go
motion?
ahead and approve it, it just will be for not the parking spaces, since we've got it on the agenda, we can approve it.
Yeah, you're the one that issues the permit.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Move to table indefinitely. Second.
All in favor?
Or you can postpone it indefinitely.
Order 119, 2018.
Move to read by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
An order providing for approval of forfeiture.
Is there a motion to adopt?
Move to adopt. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Oh, I need a roll call, Patty,
No.
sorry.
That's, yes, you do. Counselor Sol?
Yes.
Counselor Mayo?
Yes.
Counselor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Counselor Tate?
Yes.
Counselor Dupont?
Yes.
It is 5 in favor and 0 opposed.
We lost a lot of nature. Making motions for us.
Could I get, we're going to new business resolution 121, 2018.
A resolution providing for approval of leased land at Lafleur Airport. Be it resolved by the Waterville City Council acting as municipal officers that the city manager be authorized to approve a land lease with On Target Systems LLC at Lafleur Airport for the purposes of constructing an aircraft hangar.
Can I get a motion to adopt?
Move to adopt. Second.
Randy, you want to tell us about it a little bit?
Another hangar. It's about a 44 by 44 hangar for private aircraft. It'll be the second one going up this summer.
Is that bigger than the ones we've had before?
A little bit. Typically, we're looking at 42 by 42.
That much bigger.
And then when we did the lease, we've updated it so that it's reflective of more of what things should be today to encompass land around the hangar and so on and so forth.
Traffic's pretty steady.
Has been.
I live right near there, so I see them
Yeah.
coming in all the
The
time.
film festival certainly kept us hopping over the weekend.
Yeah.
We saw a large number of aircraft, which was nice, so making money.
Great.
Is the rate, Randy, the rate, $350 a year, is that comparable to other airport leases?
Yes.
Is it?
Yep, we're still competitive, but we're certainly not low either.
Okay.
Now, we increased the rates a month or 2 ago.
Yeah, it was on the last land lease that we did, we put in front of you guys, we had increased the lot size leases and encompassed more land with those.
We hadn't increased the rates for a very long time, but Randy suggested it, and I'm glad we did it, because we were, I think, behind at that point.
Yeah, you know, it's just another effort to try to take the burden off the taxpayers of Waterville and put it on the end users of the airport.
Right, do we lease the land, do we tax the hangar?
Yes, we do.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All in favor? Next, order 122, 2018.
An order providing for appropriation of funds, be it hereby ordered by the Waterville City Council acting as municipal officers, that the city manager be authorized to appropriate proceeds of the airport equipment public auction and the amount of $3,451 and the airport fence demolition and the amount of $1,204.25 towards the replacement of the airport pickup plow truck with equipment.
Move to adopt. Second.
This has a long history to it. As a result of an accident at the airport last winter, a plowing accident, right, Randy? Our truck was damaged beyond the point of using it again. And so the insurance proceeds from the damage probably only covered about half of the total cost of replacing that truck. The other half, about $15,000, you approved earlier this spring from one of our reserve accounts. Unfortunately, when we got to finally getting the final bids in on that replacement truck, it still left us about $2,200 short because it has to have plow gear. It's the truck that plows the runways. And so what Randy is requesting, and I certainly support, is the use of money that we'll get from an auction of equipment that we have up there, a public auction. Well, you've already had the auction?
Yes, we have.
Yep. And so the amount obtained was $34.51.
Correct.
And we need
plus the 12.4 for the fence that we removed.
Right. And so that amount, if you authorize it tonight, will allow us to replace that existing plow truck. This is a truck that stays at the airport.
Correct.
Any questions or discussion on the council? Any questions?
When you have big trucks like that, do they ever have total replacement for insurance?
I'm not sure on that. Did you get into a discussion with the insurance company about the amount or how we had it covered?
Well, they treated us very well. It was a 2004 unit. We got a little over 15,000 for the truck with the plow. But I'm not familiar with any full coverage replacement. Our other vehicles, the large vehicles, those are paid for 90% by the FAA. It's just that this particular unit is 100% safe, which with these funds we'll have been able to replace without having to tap into any other account. So we have the tree money that we used from clearing the lots, the insurance proceeds, and then that's enough to pay for it.
So it was a 14-year-old truck.
Yeah. So it was due for replacement soon anyway.
Okay. Take a vote. All in favor? Resolution 123, 2018.
A resolution providing for contract extension waste zero pay-as-you-throw trash bags. Be it resolved by the Wtvl City Council, acting as municipal officers as follows, that the city hereby authorizes the extension of a contract for supply of pay-as-you-throw trash bags to Waste Zero of Raleigh, North Carolina, comprising the period of July 1, 2018 through June 30th, 2020, at the following per unit service fee charge. Small 15-gallon, 23 cents and 28.2328, and large bags 0.3475. And now therefore the contract having an estimated annual value of $49,865.00 based on an expected volume of 160,000 bags per year.
Motion to adopt. Second.
Mike, Mr. Veer, we're going to let the council ask their questions first, and then we'll go to the public. Mike, I have a couple questions. I think I asked this the last time. Have we ever done any research since this program started into paying a main company that, I know we've looked, they don't make trash bags, but that could potentially provide stickers where people could buy their own bags, and maybe we could pay a main company these prices to produce stickers. Might even be cheaper.
I know that Mark and I looked into that last year. So right, number one, there's no main company that makes the bags that we use. So the question is, should we use stickers instead of bags? From what we found out, there are a whole lot more problems with the stickers than what we've been currently using with bags. I don't remember the number of towns in the state that use the same Waste Zero bag. You know how many?
Including us, 18.
18.
And Casella's Solid Waste, Pine Tree Waste Company.
Yes.
So there are communities using either stickers or bags. The problem with stickers is that, not to say this is going to happen, but I've seen many, many things occur. People will say they put the sticker on their bag and it's gone now. You need to take my bag. If you have a purple bag, there's no question. So that's a disadvantage of the sticker program. There's a lot of game playing and accusations and the sizes of bags and all that. So, and difficult to see sometimes, in foul weather, or if there's a lot of bags piled up, which ones will be taken. It takes longer to look to certify that the bags have stickers. So there are many disadvantages to having the sticker.
And the $50,000 cost of the bags gives us a return of what?
About $300,000.
Okay. Okay, that's our return.
Which funds the trash pickup?
Yes. Well, and the recycling pickup too.
Okay, so this is the question that I brought up. We're making $300,000 off the bag, so let's say net $250 when we add in the cost. and that goes towards the trash. What is the cost of the recycling compared to the cost of picking up trash?
Well, of course,
Meaning, would it be cheaper? Is there a cheaper, does it cost us more to have a recycling program?
It did when it was a contracted service, but now it costs us less.
Because we're picking it up?
We're doing it ourselves.
Okay, so that has
I
changed.
haven't been able to quantify the totals as to how much yet, because we're relatively new in that portion of the operation.
when we were contracting it out, I think the recycling cost per ton was just a couple dollars less than
Right.
throwing it in the trash.
Yeah.
And now that we have our own crew picking up, you're right, it's definitely less than when we contract.
Because we're not paying for the truck.
Yeah.
And it's certainly cheaper on citizens who don't have to pay for the bags for recycling.
Right.
Counselor?
Mark, are we still seeing the same tonnage as far as pickup, or have you seen that diminish? Because obviously I've been seeing in my neighborhoods a lot more private hauler trash cans out by the driveways. And from what I talk to about, I would think that we would be seeing that diminish citywide to some extent.
It's gone from 4,600 tons when we first started down to about just under 2,000 tons a couple of years ago. Now we're down to 1,840 tons or something like that.
So there is a
Over 1,800.
so there is a significant decline.
But
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
but
From the beginning, but I think.
Yeah.
a portion of that is recycling, correct? Because that's going somewhere else.
Yeah.
Our recycling tonnage went up from last year to this year.
Right.
So we did recycle more, I don't know, 30, 40 more tons in recycling over the last 12 months.
Yeah.
Now, is this a requirement for a 2-year contract versus a 1-year contract? Is that about locking in with a no price increase, or is that negotiable?
For the bags, you mean?
For the bags?
Yeah,
Through North
so I didn't
Carolina, through
understand
Waste Zero.
1 year, 2 year thing?
Yeah. What is the sticking point to going 2 years versus 1 year?
This is a 2-year contract.
It is proposed for 2 years, right?
Yes, yeah.
It's proposed for 2 years.
Have we done 2 years in the past?
We did 3 the first
Actually, we
time.
did 3 the first time.
And then we did 1 year.
We did 1 last year because we didn't know if we were contracting out the service and all that. This year we asked for 2.
Yeah,
Because
so,
to give some continuity to the program and allow the company to plan for their production and manufacturing.
It's
What is-
really, I think it's worked very, very well in many cases.
Well, that's my point. If it's a lock-in to keep the rates from increasing, then it makes sense.
We're locked in for 2 years.
Again, I do believe that we need to have a larger discussion, as I've already discussed this with a few of the councils, with the public forums that the mayor is proposing, which I would like to be a part of. We have to have a larger discussion about solid waste in the future. Obviously, by your own accord, Mike, that is the second top line item in the budget. We certainly are looking to make tough decisions down the road. I know the town of Fairfield has already explored and done that, and stabilized their tax mill rate to a certain level with going with private haulers. As I know that we have to have these public forums to further have this discussion, move this along in seriousness, because this is another element that we have to, every municipality is grappling with by your own accordance. And we're going to continue to grapple with the costs and the makeup of this for years to come. That's probably something that hopefully we can get more opinions and more analysts from the public when we have these forums, and I think that should be one of the top subjects to be talking about.
Okay.
Any other question? Mr. Veer, you had a comment or a question?
I did, and Councilor Mayu brought up a good point, and the point that I was going to bring up. If there's no cost difference into the 23 cents or the 34 cents, Mike, I would like to see it for 1 year. And the reason being is when the council, as well as the mayor and the public, has their budget meetings for the 2018-2019 fiscal year, perhaps we can take a look at outsourcing this. I know I talked to Charlie Wing from CMD. Right now, his hands are kind of tied, but he'd be willing to put in a bid if it was, comparable to what he can do. I'm just finding out tonight that, through the chair, if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor, are we making any money on the recyclable end?
No, we're not making any money. The recycling market's so low that you probably know that too.
Right, so the new compact truck, let me try to get this straight. The new compact truck that we spent X amount of dollars for is divided into 60-40, 60% for recyclables. Everything goes up to Norwalk and gets dumped out and discarded from there, correct?
It gets dumped out in 2 separate places, trash over here, recycling over there, and then Norwalk takes our recycling to EcoMaine in South Portland. Fortunately, at EcoMaine, we don't have a charge when our stuff is dropped off there. The only charge is a transportation day.
That's a good point about the 1-year thing, because remember, EcoMaine this year put out an article in the news, I think it was in the Portland Press Herald, saying they may start charging.
Right.
True.
So, that's an unknown. I don't think anybody here wants that.
No, and that's one of the reasons why I'm asking the council to put it as 1 year. And if it's not going to matter on the price, Mike, I don't see where it would hurt. That's just my 2 cents. We got to start looking towards, we got to put our differences aside and look at 2018, 2019 budget. And if it means outsourcing public works, I'm sure Mark would agree that, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. And we have to take a look at the possibility of making money on recyclables, whether it be chipping it up and putting it into asphalt so that we can fix some of our potholes. I don't know the answer, but if it's on the internet, it's got to be real. So, thank you.
Yeah,
I have a
Councilor.
quick question, Mike. Mike, how long is our contract with EcoMaine?
How long is our contract with?
EcoMaine.
Renew for 5 years?
That's a good point, Councilor. Thank you.
Yeah, we're in the second year of a 5-year contract with EcoMaine. We went that way because of the no charge thing. I mean, we can drop our recyclables there, there's no cost for them to handle it. The only cost is the transportation there.
So we are protected at this point for another 3 years? Are we protected at this point for another 3 years?
Yeah, right, which is why I don't think we want to, unless we decide to do something completely different.
Sure.
I don't think we should break that contract. If we decide to do something different, then we can get it.
Okay.
Mr. Payne?
Julian Payne, Ward 5. So I think sometimes there's a bit of confusion that when you buy these bags, you're paying $10 for a bunch of plastic. But it's really not the cost of manufacturing those bags that you're paying for. You're paying for X amount of cubic feet pickup and delivered. And that's how they've calibrated cost versus loss on this program.
Correct.
Because the actual bags are probably 30 cents to make. So you're actually buying a cubic removal service.
You're paying for somebody to come pick up your
Right.
trash and throw it away.
Recycle.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. You're
Thank
paying
you,
for
Mike.
the volume in the bags.
Thank you. Take that down. So the other question I had was I'd like to ask Mark how it's working with the dual packer, because it's calibrated obviously for both. Are they running back to the recycle center because one side is full more than the other? Or is he finding on the route it's pretty much an even fill? Are they having to mix and blend at certain times? But obviously the program's been in for a while. I do know it's reducing some of the spill on the street, but that's kind of a question that I think is interesting because the truck's just been put in place recently.
Okay.
So
I'll let
thank
Mark
you.
answer that question.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Good question, Joe.
Thank you again.
The dual packer has been in operation since April, and we've had our ups and downs and little minor glitches with it, especially during spring cleanup when everybody was appeared to be hoarding some of their trash through the winter and putting it out all at once. So the volume was quite high, and we weren't expecting that. Plus, because the Fiberite plant up in Hamden is not online as of yet, all the other communities that would have used that facility are now hauling to Waste Management. So when we go in there at the end of the day to dump, there could be several other municipal vehicles or private contractors at Norwich Rock also dumping. So that causes a delay for our crew. But overall, volume-wise and performance-wise, the truck works well, and it does what it was intended to do as far as being able to haul both commodities at the same time, trash and recycling.
Mark, are you having to, how often does the truck make trips now that you're picking up 5 days a week? Does it obviously making more trips?
We're still going once a day, and we're trying to measure our days so that we know, when approximately we need to go up there and dump, come back. Because every day we're picking up trash and recycling, so we can carry a load forward, a slight load for the next day, depending on the number of stops we have on the route.
But you're picking up less weekly, right, of the recycling because you do it weekly now?
Yes. Yeah. And there's still a bit of a delay in people catching on to that, is that we are doing recycling every week, not every other week. And so we're hopeful that things will even out and a balance will be achieved for the program and everything will work well.
Thanks, Mark.
Chris Smith, Ward 3, the councillorless list 1. I know we had the conversation earlier about why we aren't looking at stickers, and I completely get that. Not to mention stickers could be easily forged, so I'm totally against that as well. But at the same time, I've had quite a few issues with the bags themselves being extremely cheap. I've bought numerous packs where there have been holes at the bottom of them, they're not completely sealed. You contact the manufacturer, they send you a new one. The new ones have holes in the bottom of them as well. Contact them again, you get a third set, again, holes in them. That was just one week when we did that. So my question for the council and everybody else is, why don't we look at some of the outside cities that are doing this? My grandparents and my father live in Virginia, where they have a very similar program. They've got a pay-as-you-throw, but they've got the trash bags for those people who just have smaller amounts to throw out. But for the people who have larger families and are going to be going through more bags or using larger bags, you can go to the city, you can buy a trash can, much like a lot of the private contractors out there do. You've got a branded trash can and you can use whatever bags you want, throw them in there, but you're paying a set price for the can itself, a monthly fee for the can, instead of buying bags as you need them. So I'm just curious if anyone's thought of looking into that, and as our mayor has suggested, we might even be able to find someone in the state of Maine who could make those branded trash cans for us.
Well, I think that's going to be part of what we do next spring, is a comprehensive look at all of the components of trash and recycling. So that's certainly going to be part of it.
Okay.
And also, many communities who have the can system are using automated pickup, an arm that picks up the can. That's why they have those. And in Virginia, of course, you said it was in Virginia?
Yes.
Warmer weather, so no snow.
Oh, they get snow.
Around a little bit. But, I'm just saying that usually those can systems come along with an automated trash truck pickup system.
We're not buying a new truck.
Not very practical for around here, I don't think.
Okay. With that, we'll take a vote. All those in favor? Okay. And last, we have Resolution 124, 2018.
Move to read by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
A resolution providing for cooperative purchase fiscal year 18-19 road salt.
A motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
So this is a co-op. This is to buy salt for next year.
How's the price compared with last year, Mark? How's the price compared with last year?
$3.33 cheaper, I think.
Oh, there you go.
I have to put my glasses on.
$3.33 lower than last year, I'm sorry.
That was $3.33.
Yeah.
Cheaper. Every year, a few years ago, salt was over $60 a ton. Right now, the prices have been dropping.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Every year, so. Those two resolutions I presented tonight result in a net negative to the budget for both of those.
Wonderful, we like to hear
Please
that.
present that.
Very nice.
All right. So any discussion, questions of the council? Anybody in the public? I'll take a vote. All in favor? Mike, we're at managers.
I do not have anything under manager's report.
We got a motion to adjourn.